What's up, guys? We're live here. I'm streaming actually from my house right now, in the famous dining room, till I get my set built. But I haven't been live for a Facebook Baitman show in quite a while, and I'm really glad to be back tonight. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite techniques, which is topwater fishing. So do me a favor. Make sure you make a comment. Let me know you're there. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you enjoy this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button for me. What's up, James? How you doing, man? What's up, Phil? Tyler? And we're going to talk about everything tonight, from walking baits, plopping baits. I'm going to throw a few frogs in there. I'm going to show you a couple tricks on a buzz bait. We're going to talk about hooks. A lot of guys ask about hooks for their topwater baits. I'm going to tell you when to change your hooks out and what kind of hooks. And we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on the pro fishing tour. What's up, JoJo and Steve? And if I've missed anybody, Mike, John Sullivan, my good buddy there from Mayfield, Jesse, what's up, guys? Glad to be back. The fishing world is really changing for the good, I think. You got the MLF tour that's really flipped everything upside down. And thanks, Brent. I appreciate it, buddy. And we'll hear more about that. And also, if you didn't know, I have launched a website, thebaitman.com, and there's a dash between the and Baitman. I've got some articles I'll be going up tomorrow, some more product reviews and stuff like that. But we're just going to talk fishing tonight, mostly topwater stuff. So do me a favor, hit the like button. Make sure you share it with your friends and everything, and I will upload this to YouTube. So let's just go ahead and explain topwater fishing, especially in the fall. It's really popular. You catch a lot of fish, and you catch a lot of big fish this time of year. And the reason for that is the shad are on the move quite a bit, and when the shad get really active, so do the bass. Well, here on the Tennessee River system, our main forage is gizzard and threadfin shad, especially those big gizzard shad. And bass really feed on them quite a bit. When they get really tough to catch, usually they're feeding on the really small threadfin shad. And there's a few baits I like when they're feeding on that. But you've got really three main topwater baits. You've got a walking bait. And this one right here is OG. This is the Head Super Spook. This is the saltwater Super Spook that everyone loves. Then you've got a popping style bait. I'll grab one right here. The walking bait, you're wanting to walk the dog. You can work it really fast. That's my preference this time of year. And then you've got, a popping style bait. This is just for example. This is a Lucky Craft G Splash. They don't even make these anymore. I'm going to talk about this bait really specifically here in a minute. A popping bait, you can't fish it as fast as a walking bait. You cover less water, but usually you're going to get more splash. Really like a popping bait when I'm casting to targets like stumps, shallow cover, edges of docks, or when they're feeding on those really small minnows. And then you've got a buzz bait. Everybody likes a buzz bait. I shouldn't have to show you what one is, but I'm going to here in a minute. So you got a buzz bait, a popper, a walker, and now you've got what I like to call hybrid baits or plopping baits. And the OG of the plopping bait in the bass fishing world is the Whopper Plopper. And you can see the plopper style baits have a tail that spins in the back and creates kind of like a buzzing action, but it's more of a plop. What kind of knot on the popping baits? I actually just use the same knot I tie on a jig, a spinnerbait, everything else. I know some guys use a loop knot. I don't. Sometimes I'll put a split ring on the nose, but for the most part, I don't tie a loop knot. I just use a San Diego jam knot. I've never had any issues. Now, I will tell you, your lines is important, if not more important than anything. I'm either going to use braid or mono. I'll never use fluorocarbon on a topwater bait. Now, I do know some guys, specifically like Matt Allen, that will use, and Justin Lucas will use like braided line to monofilament leader. And where that really helps out is on walking baits, because if you use straight braid on walking baits, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you need a little softer rod, because if it's too stiff, your bait it just dart and it won't get that extra glide in it, and you have to be real soft on the tip, or it's very easy to overwork a walking bait with braid. If you put that mono leader on there, it's a shock absorber, it'll give you a little bit more action. Man, it just went out last night. I'm going to be honest with you, it was working last night because my dadgum washer belt blew out and it started smoking. So down on my luck and the washer goes out, but it is what it is. So let's just go over some of these baits real quick, and I'm going to start with walking baits. And this one right here is probably the oldest one I got. This is actually the saltwater Super Spook. If you had to ask Brent Anderson, Kentucky Lake Hammer, how many he's caught on this, I don't think he could give you a number. Bone, in the fall, I'm going to look at any shad patterns, but it's really hard to get away from a bone color. One reason I do like the big saltwater Super Spook, it's got 3 trebles. And these saltwater hooks are actually pretty dadgum sharp. But this moves a lot of water. You can work it really fast, and it's got a little bit of a faint knock to it. That one is really popular. You can find this bait anywhere in the country. You can go to California, Florida, Lake Michigan. You can find a big spook. So that's one good thing about this bait. It's a very easy to use, easy to walk. I really like this big spook when there's some ripple on the water, as it gets real high in the water column. Now my next bait, y'all might like this one. I'm just getting out one of my personal topwater boxes. Unfortunately, I'm not sitting in the store, so don't have access to everything in the world. But I got access to something here not everybody has. I'm fixing to show y'all. So this is an OG Vixen. This is an original Vixen. This color is Silver Flutter Shat. Again, one of the most popular walking baits of all time. And the reason for that is, this one's clear and you can see, is there is a little ball in the back, and it makes this loud, high-pitched knocking sound. And this is an original one. There's really not many differences, but this line tie, so I've had this bait for a long time. It's caught a lot of fish. I'm not selling those. Matter of fact, I did sell one of these, and I got to get it to my buddy. Now, here is a paycheck repo man. I see Vince from Phoenix Rods is watching. He probably knows the guy that originally started making these. His name is Bub Tosh, and Bub always says he's going to come back out with them. Hopefully, he does. The Evergreen JT is a thinner profile bait. It's silent. It's a really good bait, but it's thinner profile. So when you hold a Vixen and a Repo Man right next to each other, there is almost no difference. The main difference you'll see, the eyes, the black on the Vixen is bigger than the black on this one. But as far as body and shape and design, internally you can tell they're basically the same bait. This one's one of my favorites. I think this is like Bone Saw. Is a really good one. My buddy Matt Bryan with All Pro Bass Guide Service, he won a boat on this bait right here, and just an original Super Spook last year. Hey, Joey, I'm gonna get to that I'm a little stick here in just a minute. Now, one bait that's what I like to consider an OG of the walking bait world, and you don't hear much talk about this anymore, is a Lucky Craft Sammy. This bait right here was really popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. One of the first JDM baits to really come over here, and this is one I fished a lot. And you can see it's got teeth marks all over it. It's missing the eye. This one will catch fish. What made these baits really popular is the banana shape on the belly made this thing walk really easy. You could walk it really tight and really fast, or you can use slow twitches of the rod and it will glide out real wide. This is the 100 size. I actually like the 115 the best. It's just a little bit bigger. Really like this bait. My other Lucky Craft bait I like, and if I will tell you, if you can find these are these little bitty Sammys. These are like a Sammy 65. These are great on light tackle. I know a lot of the Coosa River spotted bass guys, if I got any spotted bass guys, they love these little bitty Sammys on the river systems. But this is really actually my favorite Lucky Craft topwater, and that's the gunfish. So the gunfish is different. This is the 115. This is the 95. These are all out of my personal box. Look at all the teeth marks and hook rash this thing right here has got. I have caught a world of fish on this bait. You got some wood Sammys, Vince? That's pretty OG, man. Back when I got to working directly with Lucky Craft, they sent me a box of a bunch of stuff, and I have a purple chrome Sammy somewhere. I've never seen it anywhere, but I've lost so much stuff moving houses the last couple of years. But so this is the 95, and this is the 115. The only problem I don't like about the 115 for big bait, it's got 2 hooks, and I do need to replace that treble. The 95, I really like this. So one thing about the gunfish, this thing casts like a bullet. So if there's kind of any wind or anything with the right rod, when it loads up, you can cast this thing a country mile. It does have a little rattle on it, but I can work this bait really fast. And one thing that's cool about the gunfish is see how that lip is designed a little bit right there? It actually kind of spits some water. It's a really, really good bait. Hey, what's up, Derek? David, we're going to get to that here in just a second, man. I'm going through this box. So that's, someone just mentioned the Evergreen shower blow. And what you know, I have an SB 125. This color is blueback herring, which is actually my favorite. Everybody wants the bone shower blow, but I've actually caught more on this color right here, and it may just be a confidence thing, but this is kind of your hybrid pencil popper. Yes, you can, Nate. The gunfish, you can actually make it sweep really wide, especially that 115. This is your shower blow SB 125. So they make a 105 that's smaller and a 150 that's bigger. And if you can get a hold of a bone 125 right now, somebody will have a $100 bill for you because everybody is trying to get these things. And I'll just go ahead and let you guys know at iCast, I talked to Evergreen. I said, hey, what's going on? Need to get these baits, blah, blah, blah. They said they may not even make it to the United States this year. So that would be almost a whole year before any shower blows were delivered. So that's the reason for the high prices. But this bait, you can tell it's got a couple knockers on it. It's extremely loud, and it spits water. And I can work this topwater as fast, if not faster, than anything I've got in the box. And for some reason, smallmouth really, really like this bait. Matt Downey, what I think about the Whopper Plopper is you are the man with the Whopper Plopper. So if anybody has a question about a Whopper Plopper, ask Matt Downey, because he's won like $60,000 on this thing in Texas. I'm not sure what brand they put on here. They're super sharp. They're kind of a saltwater treble. That's why with a silver finish on them. They are a round bend. But the SB 125, they have really sharp hooks. They do bend a little. If you're going to upgrade, this is a good time to talk about hooks. I don't put EWG trebles on my topwater. The plus, if you do, the thing about EWG, when they get the bait and they're hooked, they're not coming off. If that treble buries down there, then they're going to stay on. The problem is, you're here late in the fall. These fish have done seen topwaters from April all the way to October, November. You're going to get a lot of fish that come up and bump the bait or just kind of take it under. EWG hooks don't hook up that well on topwaters when they're not engulfing the whole bait, when they're just kind of slapping at it. That's why I like a really sharp round bend, almost a light wire, Gamakatsu round bend. The Berkeley Fusions are really good, and Owner round bend hooks, just the Zoar, I believe it's the ST41s, they're really good. I'll get away from those short shanks or EWGs because I want, if a fish comes up and bumps it and tries to take it down, those round bends stick them, period. Whew. Whew, that's not no good, Brian. So I showed you that. Now I got to show you another very similar bait. Dang, I got like 5 boxes of Topwater here. Yes, it does. Feather treble hooks, if you can get away with it. I always try to put one on there. And luckily, a lot of manufacturers are doing that now. So here's the Ima little stick. So this is basically the bait that, thank you, Keith. This is the bait that Justin Atkins used in the Forcewood Classic. Steve, man, I don't have a lot of rats. I got a bull rat. Hey, Brooks. Shh. This is the Ima little stick. So when you look at the Ima little stick compared to the shower blow, because a lot of guys ask me, they're basically the same size. Dude, what are you doing? Y'all about to see me give my son a live spanking here on Facebook. So you look at the mouse. The Ima little stick has a real long concave mouth. It's going to spit a lot harder, whereas the shower blow has these 2 little flanges on the side of the mouth, which makes it walk, but it spits as it's turning, whereas this bait spits as you first start. You can make this bait jump forward, whereas this bait, it turns really hard. Both are really loud, very similar baits. The little stick, man, I like this bait a lot. You can cast it a country mile. It won a Forcewood Cup, so you can't go wrong with that. So that's kind of the gist of walking baits. I got some OG stuff in here. A lot of guys do ask me, when do you throw a smaller walking bait like this right here. This is a Super Spook Junior, so it's a really small profile topwater. I like this when I know guys are throwing those big baits on really calm days. I tend to go to a smaller bait. I seem to get more bites. This one I just had in my box. I really like a bone or even a clear. I know those guys on Pickwick and some other TVA lakes, lots of smallmouth up north, they like a really clear Super Spook Junior, get a lot of bites. I always put that feather treble on. I need to replace that one back there. But man, I've got all kinds of walking baits. This is a pretty good one here. I've shown this before. This is that Arashi walker. This is a big bait. I mean, this is a really big topwater. It's pretty loud. It has a really good sweeping action. One thing I am missing the sexy dogs. I can't find my sexy dogs. I think Sam Lashley took all my sexy dogs. But I've got some Strike King Mega Dogs coming. Really cool. I'm excited about that bait since I got to help put prototype number 1 together. Actually, I had one that was basically clear, and it's a sweet bait. But the Mega Dog, you're going to have to change your topwater equipment. Any bait I've got right in front of me, other than maybe a plopper, I throw on a 6'6" all-star rod that's like 20 years ago. It's a Zell Rolling Topwater Special, and it's like a medium moderate action. But one thing about that rod, I can throw a little bitty G-Splash, or I can throw this big giant Super Spook on it, but it loads so well, I can throw that a country mile. But when a fish eats it, when I'm throwing braid or heavy monofilament, the rod can load. It's got enough backbone to drive the trebles in, but it's got enough flex. That way, that fish, it's hard for it to come off. And man, I bought that thing when I was like 14 years old, and I've probably caught as many fish on that rod as any. And it's a $100 rod. So that's the good thing about topwater fishing. You don't have to go spend $400 on a Loomis rod. You can, man, there's so many guys that make a good topwater rod. Denali, you can get a Denali for like $100, one of the fission rods. They make some great actions for that. Daiwa makes an excellent big topwater rod. Phoenix, really look at those Phoenix M1 and rods. They make some really good ones. I think they make like a 7.5 medium heavy. That might be a little long, but they make a 7-foot medium heavy. That's an awesome topwater rod. So everyone makes a good one, and you don't have to spend $500. You can buy a $99 reel, die with Shimano, whatever, and get a 7-to-1 ratio and a $100 rod, and you can have an excellent setup for topwater fishing all year long, because you're not really worried about sensitivity. Yes, when there's a lot of pressure, I will go to a silent topwater, something that doesn't make way too much aggravation in the water. That was a 13, Mike. That's the one I throw. Mark, personally, I am a mono guy. I use some old school Berkeley line. I've got a 3,000 yard spool of Berkeley. I forgot the name of it. It's like an orange line, but it's really good. It's 17-pound test, and I'll never use all of it. But if you're fishing around any kind of vegetation, I really do recommend throwing braided line, even if the vegetation is below the water, because when those fish dive down, you got to be able to get them. And something Kelly Jordan told me, he was telling me about fishing on Toledo Bend and throwing a plopping style bait, and these fish were grabbing the bait and going burying up in the grass. And he said, when they bury up like that, don't try to horse them out. He said it's actually good if those fish are bury themselves up in the grass, because those trebles a snag and they can't move. So just run the trolling motor right over the fish and get over top of them and try to grab them. If you start pumping it like you're tuna fishing, a lot of times it'll grab the grass and rip those fish from it. So yeah, Mitchell, listen, my dang washer caught on fire last night. Thing went off, so I'll have to replace it. I do not use a loop knot, Joey. I use the same knot I use for everything else, San Diego Jam. So keep that in mind when you're getting your setups. For the most part, monofilament. You can go braid to mono or solid braid. On topwater, though, I'll never go lighter myself than 65-pound braid. There's a lot of reasons for that. If you look back at previous videos dealing with Brent Anderson, he explains that. So now let's get into popping style baits, which I'm kind of a good fan. I love pencil poppers. Chris, I just talked about the I'm a Little Stick and the shower blow. It's all good, Mitch. I'll be honest, it wouldn't be a Baitman live show at my house without that smoke detector going off. The old school guys know about that. But so let's talk popping style baits and see what I've got here. I'll show you my favorite. And show you some different ones. I think my buddy borrowed all of mine. Yes, it was a size 13. Oh, we're going to go old school on this bait right here, boys. Okay, Brooks. We're getting a bag of tricks now. Some of these baits smell like they haven't been used in 10 years. I got you. I'll get all these out eventually. All right, so let's just start right here. Brooks, hush. Okay. I get on to Brooks. He's raising hell back here. Hopefully, Tennessee be raising a little bit against Florida this year. All right, so let's start with the popper baits. So we'll have to go old school. This is the Rebel Popper. The Zell Rolling Special. This is the one when we talk, hey guys, you're in the tackle shop. Guys, you got any Poppers? This is what they're talking about. Hush. And, you know, the P7000, which is a really big one. They're really rare, but this thing catches a lot of fish. This is the old school Tennessee shad color. One thing I like about a Popper, it makes a big bubble. It's pretty cool. Now, if I'm targeting fish that are... they're chasing little thread fins. They're around stumps in the boat docks. I like a popper. In the spring, I'll use a popping bait 3-4 to 1 over I will a walking bait. Because a lot of times those fish are just sitting there tight to cover. You bring this by them, they can't handle it. Somebody mentioned a chug bug. Oh yeah, I got a chug bug. So the chug bug, if you notice, has a real slender body. and we got a really big body compared to the Poplar. The Chug Bug will tend to kind of turn side to side. And man, when I was growing up, I caught so many fish off a Chug Bug off the bank. They used to have a really catchy theme song. That rattling, spittling thing called the Chug Bug. Brooks, I've told you to hush like 10 times. Do you want to be on here? I'm trying to get Brooks on here instead. He just wants to yell. Poppers catch janks. Yes, they do. Well, that's the old Chug Bug. I've lost like 2 topwater boxes, but now this one has some battle scars on it. This is a Rico, and this was kind of like a blue glimmer color, but I've caught so many fish on this thing that it's like lost its shine. I actually changed these trebles out. These are the Gamakatsu G Finesse Aaron Martin's trebles. They are super sharp. So you guys are looking for hooks for your topwater baits, find some of the Gamakatsu G Finesse. Get you a guy that can custom tie feathers with the Gamakatsu G Finesse, and you will not be disappointed. They look thin and like they're going to bend, but they do not. They are nice. Everything as far as the G Finesse series from Gamakatsu is great. But that's what I have on here. But I like this Rico. It's got a little knocker in it. It's not super loud, but one thing I really like about this bait is it walks really, really good. The guy's asking for the knot I tied. There's one right there. That's at San Diego Jam. And I tied it direct to here. This bait walks really good without having to modify anything. They make 2 sizes, and actually this one is not a Rico, but it is a Splash It, a Don Iovino Splash It. So this is what I like for a finesse popper. It's really a lot smaller than this guy right here. The Rico, real Rico up top, the Splash on. That's right, Kane. Kane agrees with me. He catches those janks, so listen to him. Brooks, I'm busy. You want to come on here? Okay. Brooks wants to say hi. Say hi, Brooks. Yeah. But I'll use this small one. If someone asks about pressure, when there's a lot of pressure, I'll go to this really small one versus a bigger one. Sometimes the bass will tell you, maybe they don't want all that commotion. They want something really finessey. I'll go to this small Splash It or the original Rico size. But these are all handmade. They're pretty cool. Where are you getting that feathered hook on it? I actually had a guy make this feathered hook for me. There's a guy locally here, Mike Russell at Bag 5 Baits. If you'll buy the hooks, he'll tie you feathered trebles. What's up, JoJo Norwood? I need your top waters for Lake Hartwell. Now, I talked about this bait earlier. I don't even make them anymore. This is the Lucky Crab G Splash. It's a little bit bigger than the Rico, but you notice it gets really narrow back here by the tail. It's got a really wide mouth, but it's real flat right here. And what that happens, this bait will walk really good, but if you use some hard, quick, some quick snaps, it will splash really, really well. And I've had the best luck on this bait right here in the evenings or early mornings, and working it pretty much a steady retrieve. I really like the G Splash. I wish they'd still made it, and they may still, but there's a couple colors they don't make anymore. This has been my most productive color right here. This is a Ghost Aurora, which is a really transparent, really good shad color. I've caught some big smallmouth on this. I don't know why, but they like this bait a whole lot. And I like the bigger size to make a smaller one. So give these, if you can find these G Splashes, and there's some guys on the internet selling these pretty cheap right now, it's definitely worth it to put these in your tackle box. Definitely give them a try. I know those guys out in California really like that. Now this is one a lot of guys don't know about. This is the Profound Outdoors Azuma Popper Z. And I did have some footage of this one time getting chomped on at Lake X, but this has got that really unique rattle sound that's kind of high pitch, but it works really, really good. Dude, I got I got hooks everywhere.
I can be careful.
Well, hold on just a minute. I gotta get some more stuff, okay? Brooks, tell everybody go Vols. Okay, you don't want to talk. So that's the Popper Z, but you see how deep that cup is in right there? It really spits really, really good. Now, you want to talk about old school? This little Rapala, I think that's a spitting wrap. I forgot the name of that. I used to catch a lot of fish on this. But it's got a really unique plastic lip up top. Dude, you're going to get hooked. Okay? And this is a cool bait. And it's actually, you know, Rapala made out of wood. So, totally unique. Now, the most unique one I got here. Somebody asked about, yeah, skitter pop, that's it. These are sweet baits. All right, Brooks, I'll let you get on camera. I'm going to move this camera for Brooks. Now Neely's going to join. Holy smokes, we got a family of bait. Somebody asked about the Megabass Pop X. Neely's talking. So this is the Megabass Pop X. It's a really unique topwater bait. Brittany?
Come here, Neely.
So this is the Pop X. Really unique. What's cool about this bait is if you can see here, the water can actually flow in to the mouth, and it will come out on the underside of these gills. So when you're working it, you get a little bubble trail. This is a really cool color. It's what is the color on this? This is moss back, and it kind of looks like a snack. But there's several companies that make a bait like this. River to Sea Bubble Walker's really good. Let's see who else makes a bait like this. Academy makes something very similar, but the Megabass one, it has tungsten in it and it has super sharp hooks. And there's a lot of guys that collect these baits. I mean, there's some crazy colors out there. So something I'd love to do is collect all the colors. What are you talking about? People don't. Brooks has found a quarter. Oh, that hook found my thumb.
Have you done that one?
No, I haven't done that one. Brooks says we've got one more. Nate, that's a good question. I have thrown the Bubble Walker and I've caught them. I've thrown the Pop Max and I've caught them. The only differences I've noticed really is that the Bubble Walker doesn't have as many varieties of colors. So, but this is the 6-inch splashback, and I've talked about it. This is the 70 size. It's smaller. It's really unique because it's a wedge shape instead of your traditional round mouth. It's a wedge. What that also does with the body being a wedge is it sits down. Hey, look what Brooks drew at school. He's so excited about that. Is it sits down in the bottom. So when you stop it, you know, a fish comes up and can grab it and take it down. But it works side to side very well. It spits very good. And man, the color schemes from 6 cents. This one's called Shad Greens. Are awesome. Yeah, the Bubble Walker and the Pop X, they have some minor differences. I wish I had a Bubble Walker here to show you. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Bubble Walker. They're good baits. There's several companies. There's guys on Facebook painting blanks that look just like the Pop Max. Now there's a Pop X, which is a smaller version, which I don't have here. So now we've gone over walking baits. We've gone over popping baits. It's time to go over some plopping baits. So this is the OG. This is the Whopper Plopper. This is the 110 size. And the guys always ask me, say, Hey Kevin, what size Whopper Plopper do I get? Do I get the big one or the small one? I suggest you start off with the 110. It's a little bit intermediate in between both sizes. It moves a good amount of water. It casts really well. I like clearer colors like Phantom Shad. T1000 is a really popular one. Terminator. The Ozark Lakes, guys really like this Phantom Shad color. Or I like Loon as well. Here's the thing. If you like to throw a bone topwaters, throw a bone plopper. If you like to throw black buzzbaits, throw a black plopper. You know, don't get too crazy. When there's a lot of pressure, I do like these clearer colors. Now, this is this is the Berkeley Chapo. I'm just going to be really honest with you guys. Everybody says, oh man, they have knocked off River to Sea. It's a copycat. All right, so this is the 120 size Chapo. Here is the Whopper Plopper. You can tell right here that there is two major differences. The tails are different. The body is definitely different. I've thrown the Chapo quite a bit, and it's a pretty good bait. And it makes a different sound. You just knew that people were going to start making these plopper style baits. And, you know, with the River to Sea being so popular. Now, my big tip on those, when the water's slick, I want a small one. When there's a lot of wind, I want to go with the bigger plopper style bait.
Nearly, you're going to get hooked.
Get her out of here. Anyway, whew, I'm getting cottonmouth. Uh-oh, we've got a kid down. We've got a kid down. Oh, man. Now, I said I was going to talk about frogs, and I'm not going to get too in depth because that's a whole show anyway. But if you haven't thrown one, they do make a plopping frog. This is the Tecla Frog. It's a really nice deal. And if you fish around a lot of vegetation and stuff, or you fish like places like Lake Darnell in Arkansas, where these fish stay shallow around grass, this is a really good deal. It's a hybrid between a frog and a plopper. My big tip on this is when they eat this, make sure you wait a couple seconds before they get it. Dude, get out of here. So, that right there, I consider that a plopper. A soft plopper. Yes, Rob, I have checked out the Boing Lures poppers. Get out of here before I whip you. My son is about to drive me nuts. He don't want to talk to me all day, and I come on Facebook Live, and he's going to hang out. Yeah, I have checked them out, Rob. It's a good lure. Matter of fact, I've got an old one sitting in my tackle box that's broken. They originally were made right here in Benton, Kentucky. And they were basically splicing together a super spook and putting a piano wire with a split shot on it. You're going to have to hold her or something, Brittany.
I have been holding her and she is down.
And my wife just chewed me out. I'm going to have to get off here. So, anyway. Let's talk about, if y'all want to, let's see how long I've been on here. If you want to, let's talk about the bass tours. I want to hear you guys' opinion and everything like that. So basically, we got the MLF Pro Tour. Rumor has it they're going to take away anywhere between 50 to 60 Elite Series guys. What they're looking for is a unified system where guys... Thanks, I really appreciate it. A mega dog, yes, it will catch jank. So MLF Tour, what they're bringing to the table is a better platform. Can y'all be quiet? Go to your room. I might have to jump off here. All right, I'm going to answer. I feel like the MLF is more of a reality TV type deal. Why do you consider MLF reality TV and not FLW or Bass Live reality TV? Because it's all the same. They're all fishing for fish live. Yes, I agree, Mark Howard. Bass responded very strongly. I want to see the guys whose names were, or invites, their mind was made up, and minds that weren't. That's definitely a deal. You know, I personally thought FLW was going to come out really well on this deal because they have the best grassroots organization of anglers, and I thought, man, because bass is MLF is inviting so many bass anglers that FLW would be stronger. And I was really disappointed today when they come out and basically saying, we're not changing a thing. If you like it, great. If not, whatever. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this world that they just want to shout at being a pro fisherman. Mitchell, it actually called, I believe, I would 10 times rather get live updates, this is me, than sit out in a freaking parking lot and it's 100 freaking degrees and guys drag weigh-in bags and kill a bunch of damn bass just to say, I couldn't get this done today without running in my Ranger with my 250 Mercury and the Gamma line that I was throwing is the best line. Dude, just put the score up there. I want to watch the fish. I want to be able to follow it. Weigh-ins are great, but MLF from a conservation standpoint is the best there's ever been. Now, of course, they got that from the Tweel, Texas Bass Classic. How can they have a non-compete clause? They're independent contractors. So you don't sign a contract to fish bass or FLW until they start giving guys W-2 forms instead of 1099s. They really can't do anything. Now, they could just tell you, if you go fish MLF, you're not welcome over here. But they couldn't, punish them and say, well, because you fish bat or FLW, we can sue you. That's not really how. That's kind of how a non-compete works. But they're independent contractors, for example, Kevin Van Dam, he isn't a Bassmaster employee. Now, I would like to see a final day weigh-in with MLF, and some guys are say, MLF is all about the dinks, but I think some of the guys you just named, Scott Martin and Thrift are probably still FLW. I could see Cody Meyer going to MLF. Those guys that have already been established in Major League Fishing are probably going to go that way. The one good thing about Jeff, they did it good. They didn't go bash anybody or anything. They just said, hey, listen, this is our stance, whether you agree with it or not. We're going to continue to do what we're doing. And they put a lot of data up there. I was a little disappointed. I made this comment on someone's page that I really saw more of this is what we've done in the past versus what we want to do here in the future. And I hate to rag on Tennessee fans because I am one, but we talk about our '98 national championship. Well, they're talking about the Ranger M1 that was 20 years ago. The TV coverage is so much better. JoJo, as far as I know, every fish is still going to count. But I've been trying to get a hold of Kelly Jordan. He's going to give me a really good rundown on that, and I'll publish that article on thebaitman.com probably this weekend or first of next week. But those are my thoughts. I actually think it's good. Competition's good. Obviously, does Bass make this move if MLF Pro Tour doesn't do what they did? I don't think so. Bass has been kind of set in their ways for a long time. People change when they realize some of the good things are going to leave. They know if the headliners of their business leave, they're going to make desperate moves. I know, Neely. But anyway, guys, I ain't going to jump off here. I'm going to put this on YouTube. My little girl is going crazy, so is my little boy. Hopefully I get my new bait room lined up. And I'll get back to being on here. Jeff, I think we need to get you on the show next week, and you can talk about your success and what you got going on in the future. Listen to this girl. Look, Neely, say hi. Say hi. Are you smiling? You smiling? All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. Try to have some giveaways on the website and stuff. I'm glad to be back here on... Holy cow, I'm glad to be back here on Facebook. Thanks again for joining, guys. See y'all.